Good afternoon. I'm Howard Weisman, Chairman and CEO of PaxMedica, and I'm excited to welcome you to this company update where I will review some of the latest developments at PaxMedica. It's been an extraordinary year for the company as we continue to advance our clinical and regulatory work on PaxOne, also known as Suramin. Let me take a moment to address some of the significant strides that the company has made since going public a little over 1 year ago. Despite the current biotech and pharmaceutical investment sentiment, we've done very well and we've come a long way in a short time. PaxMedica is the only public company focused exclusively on finding treatments for the global epidemic of childhood autism spectrum disorder. We've recently announced that PaxMedica has secured its trading position on the NASDAQ capital markets, which enabled us to raise the necessary additional capital to reinforce our commitment to the development of groundbreaking therapies for serious neurologic disorders, in particular, the core symptoms of autism spectrum disorder. One of the keys to creating value for shareholders is the progress we've made preparing the company for its first new drug application, which we plan to file in 2024. On October 25th of this year, we participated in a Type B meeting at the FDA. We engaged in helpful and encouraging dialogue with the agency, which is a crucial part of the regulatory pathway. This meeting was an important step forward for us in our relationship with the FDA and building confidence with the reviewers. We also learned that we have largely completed the clinical and the non-clinical work appropriate for an orphan-designated drug NDA, which may in turn reduce overall costs of the program for this first submission. This FDA meeting helps pave the way for us to move forward with our plans to submit an NDA for the use of PaxOne to treat the fatal infection known as African sleeping sickness. I'm also pleased to report that PaxMedica has just closed a public stock offering of approximately $7 million. This infusion of new capital will provide us with additional runway to continue work uninterrupted until submission of the NDA for PaxOne later next year. It also allowed the company to pay off the remaining balance of an outstanding convertible note with Lind Global Partners. These new funds, as well as our existing unused financing line with Lincoln Park Capital, puts PaxMedica on solid financial footing and allows us to continue at full speed with our commercial scale drug production while we begin planning for the new autism clinical trials. As many of you may know, we recently reported positive top-line results in our phase 3 trial for the treatment of African sleeping sickness, the original use for Suramin. We collected data and conducted a statistical review of 20 years of the only available real-world patient data for this potentially fatal infection. These were patients who were successfully treated with Suramin, the active ingredient in our PaxOne. With this trial now complete, we have begun to plan future trials in autism spectrum disorder. Our commitment to addressing neurologic disorders, and ASD in particular, remains our top priority. And here's why. As I mentioned in our last talk, 1 out of every 36 children born in the United States are being diagnosed as being on the spectrum. When you consider the people living with autism, both children and adults, we also need to equally consider the parents, the friends, professionals who help support these people every day, year in and year out. The true full impact of autism on our community is profound. In fact, in an article published in 2020 in Research in Autism Spectrum Disorders, Dr. Janet Kaker from the University of North Carolina estimates that the lifetime cost for an individual with autism is approximately $3.6 million. Considering that if we look at the total financial impact of autism for the United States between the years 1990 and 2019, that would mean it was more than $7 trillion. And since the publication of that article, the incidence of autism has increased by 9%. From a business perspective, I'm also pleased to share that our drug product production schedule continues to be on track, and we're achieving key milestones, particularly in drug substance manufacturing. Capital efficiency has been a cornerstone of our approach, ensuring that we are not only meeting deadlines, but doing so with great attention to creating clinical and investment value, and doing that as rapidly and responsibly as possible. In the past year, we've established some very important strategic partnerships to help support the clinical trials program and the future commercial availability of PaxMedica. In particular, I'm excited to share that our collaboration with VoxNNOA, the exclusive pharmacy distributor of PaxMedica once approved by FDA, is already working with notable thought leaders in autism as it prepares for the future availability of PaxMedica. Along with our partnership with the Brain Foundation, PaxMedica is making real progress in realizing our mission to support patients and their families throughout the upcoming clinical and commercial phases of PaxMedica. Our bold vision for PaxMedica is to develop and market breakthrough therapeutic solutions for the core symptoms of autism and other potentially related disorders. This is truly an exciting time for the company and its stakeholders. We're currently on track to submit an NDA for PaxMedica to treat African sleeping sickness, or HAT, in the second half of 2024. If we gain approval for this NDA, we believe the company will be qualified to receive a valuable priority review voucher from the FDA as a reward for developing a drug to treat a rare and fatal tropical disease for which there are no approved treatments in the US. This PRV, if awarded, can be sold to another company for a substantial value, which PaxMedica intends to do. This non-dilutive capital from a future sale of a PRV would be directly invested in executing the next large-scale human trials for PaxMedica in autism. These events and achievements are vital stepping stones towards the pursuit of our main objective, to develop a treatment for the core symptoms of autism. Our vision is to be at the forefront of transformative therapies in this space, making a meaningful impact on the lives of those impacted by neurologic disorders. Before I answer some of the questions we've received through our website, I'd like to take a moment to state clearly and unequivocally to all of our investors, the families and caregivers, and especially to people diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Every one of us at PaxMedica is deeply committed to the mission of improving the lives of people with autism, all of us. Now let's answer some of the questions that you've emailed in. How long before PaxMedica will be available for patients to try? A very good question, and one we get quite often. What I can tell you is that we're working as quickly as we possibly can to make Suramin available, PaxMedica available, but we do need to make it under the highest standards of quality and safety, and for that, it will take some more time. Our next question is about the effect of PaxMedica in older children versus younger children. You've mentioned that PaxMedica may be more effective in younger people. Do you know why that is, and do you think it will be available for older patients? Well, in our study, we did see improvements in younger patients that were stronger than the older patients, but this was a small study, and this was also an early study as well. We're still actively exploring the mechanisms. I think it's too early to say that it would only be for one group of patients versus another. We will be testing PaxMedica across all age groups, but today we do know a little bit more about the younger kids than we do know about adults, for instance. Our next question is about VoxNNOA. Why is VoxNNOA so important to your plans? Well, VoxNNOA brings a wealth of expertise and pharmacy resources to our mission. Their collaboration is integral to the success of our initiatives, in fact. If PaxMedica gains approval in autism, getting access to the drug will require a qualified clinician who can deliver an infusion in the proper setting. PaxMedica will need to be dosed at a regular time interval, weeks apart, and there may be a need for some level of monitoring for the first few courses of treatment. VoxNNOA will facilitate delivery of these services to our patients, including the drug itself, as they will be the sole pharmacy distributing PaxMedica in the US. The next question is, how much will clinical trials for autism cost? Is it one trial or a number of trials? Well, clinical trials are a significant investment for any company, and the costs can vary. We are committed to ensuring the highest quality standards in our trials, and as for the number, it will depend on the landscape that's frankly evolving as we speak. But our focus is on conducting thorough and impactful trials with literally hundreds of patients, so it will be quite a costly undertaking. We don't know how many trials it will take to get PaxMedica cleared for autism spectrum disorder. The process is a long one, and generally speaking, trial results will dictate how many more trials need to be done in any particular area. We would anticipate having to do at least 2 trials, perhaps more. So in closing, I do want to express my heartfelt gratitude for your participation and your engagement. The journey ahead for us is exciting, and I encourage you to stay tuned for upcoming events and announcements. Thank you for being part of the PaxMedica community. Let's continue this meaningful dialogue as we work towards transformative solutions. I look forward to speaking with you again as things develop here at PaxMedica. Thank you.